Hi, I'm Paul from Carbon Mods and welcome to another one of our video tutorials. In this video tutorial we're going to be going through how to use our fishing pole repair kit to successfully repair a fractured or broken fishing pole. Let's take a look at what you get in the kit. These kits are available from the Carbon Mods website for shipping worldwide, and they come with all of the necessary materials you'll need to do a comprehensive and strong repair to your fishing pole. So we have carbon fibre reinforcement and the resin. We also get specialist shrink tape, which is wrapped around the repair to consolidate it and make it very strong. You get brushes, mixing cups, gloves, and even compounds and finishes to get it up to a high aesthetic standard at the end. Here we have a pole that has been crushed, actually just trodden on waterside, and this has given a series of longitudinal cracks and left the pole completely unusable. But this is a fairly simple repair, as it won't need any jigging. The repair can go straight on. And this one has had a clean break, so it's a slightly more complicated repair, as we're going to have to create a jig which will hold it straight. In both cases, the first thing that will need to be done is, for the area that is damaged and requires essentially a bandage wrapping over it, needs to be keyed up with a sandpaper to allow a good bond with the resins. So that's the first thing we're going to do on both of these. On a typical break like this, you'll be looking to key up the area around about 150mm bandage, so that would be 75mm, approximately 3 inches either side of the break. Once you've keyed up the area, taking one of the alcohol wipes, you want to clean off any of the grease or oil that might contaminate it. This will provide a very good bonding surface for the resin. So we're now ready to apply the resin. So what we'll need to do with this one is create a jig which will hold those true and in line. Now we've provided plans on our website to produce a very simple MDF jig, which will allow you to very easily hold the two parts of the pole in line. Now we're ready to mix up the resin. What we're going to do first of all is put one coat down and allow that to tack off. This will mean that when we do apply the carbon, it'll adhere to the part and tightly wrap around before applying the final coat of resin. So we're going to do that to both of these two poles now. So first of all, you want to mix up the resin. To do that, you want to be as accurate as you can be. Very good digital kitchen scales are perfectly adequate for the job. And it's a simple mix ratio of 2:1. You're looking to really thoroughly mix your resin, making sure that you don't have any unmixed resin in the bottom of the cup. It can be good practice to pour it into a second cup before using it, as this ensures that there's no unmixed resin on the inside of the cup. Applying the first coat of resin is very simple. Just brush it over the part, allow it to sink into any of the cracks. Now that we have coated both of these two parts, leave them on one side for around about 3 or 4 hours depending on temperature, until the resin goes to a tacky state. When you do set your pole to one side, just make sure that you haven't got too much resin on and that you're not getting any drips building up underneath, as this will cause a lump in the final repair. So we'll leave those there and come back to them in a few hours. Once you've left the resin to go to a tack, which is, as I say, typically 3 or 4 hours, depends on temperature, you're looking for the resin to be sticky, because what that's going to do, it's going to adhere the reinforcement round so we can wrap it around very tightly. So once it's at that stage, it's ready to do the repair. So you need to take your reinforcement and cut the appropriate size pieces for the pole repair. In the case of these, 2 layers should be more than adequate to restore the original strength of the pole. A really simple way of working out the layers, once you know the number that you want, the length is just to take a yarn of the fibre, wrap it round twice, and then use that as your gauge for your material. Now we're going to actually wrap the reinforcement around, so all you're looking to do start in a straight line, centralised over the fracture. Apply the carbon down, and immediately you'll see that's gripped onto the resin. Then tightly and firmly wrap the carbon around the pole, and now it's had one wrap over. We'll wet that out with resin and complete the last stage with the resin. Mixing the resin just as before at a 2:1 ratio. Once you're happy that your resin is thoroughly mixed, you're now looking to apply it over the first layer of reinforcement that's wrapped around the pole. Any excess resin that you do accumulate will be removed later once we wrap it. So once you've gone all the way around the pole, you then continue to wrap reinforcement, creating the second layer. Once the fabric is wrapped all the way around and thoroughly wetted out, we're now going to wrap this with a heat shrink tape. Now the way that this shrink tape is coiled is that the inside has a release coating, so it will easily remove from the parts. So you want to make sure when you do apply it that you apply it the same, wrapped around the tube in the same way as it's wrapped onto the coil. So take a small amount of tape and apply it down at a slight angle. Firmly bind shrink tape around the carbon. You can see as you're doing this that excess resin is getting squeezed out from the repair, and this will happen further when we heat the tape. Now that these two repairs have been wrapped and bound, we're now ready for the final stage of the repair, which is to heat up the shrinkage tape, which will contract further around it and really consolidate the repair. These two repairs are now ready to be left to fully cure and set. That's typically around about 12 hours. It does vary again depending on temperature, but you can't leave it too long, so if in doubt just leave it to fully harden. We've now left the resin to harden over approximately 12 hours, and we're ready to take off the tape, and structurally that is the repair complete and the pole could be put back into service. However, I'm going to go through the process of tidying up the repair, making it look that little bit more presentable. So we'll start off by removing the shrink tape. Now that we've removed the tape, can examine the repair, check that the pole's straight and true, and we're now going to just get rid of some of this rippling and sort of uneven finish just by flattening it out with varying grades of sandpaper. Once you've sanded the main area of the repair, you've got to tidy up the area where it feathers in from the pole to the repair itself. When you're sanding that, you want to be especially careful because you really aren't looking to sand into any of the fibre on the pole itself. So very carefully go round and graduate it in, just taking your time and taking care not to sand into it too far. Now that we're happy that we've got the repair nice and flat, obviously it's never going to be an invisible repair, but if you're looking for a really great cosmetic finish, you can at this stage coat it in resin. For most repairs, it's not necessary. We're not going to do it now. We're just going to take it up through the grits and then bring it up to a nice even finish with polishing compound. We've taken these up to 1200 grit now, and now we're going to polish them over with a polishing compound. It's included in the kit, and it's simply a case of rubbing it over the part, and it should just take it up to that sort of soft sheen that the rest of the poles generally are. Right, we've compounded those over, and that's a complete repair on both of those two poles. So they're ready to go back out to the water. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Everything we've used to do these repairs is included on our fishing pole repair kit, which is available to buy online from our website carbonmods.co.uk.